motivation, seeking success, finding your passion and being your best. Rafael, Eliassen, the sensation. This is Daily Motivation.
No matter who we are, and no matter what we're doing, inevitably, we're going to encounter some form of doubt. We're going to encounter some form of resistance, and most likely we will come to a point where we're questioning ourselves. And the key here is to keep moving. The key here is just to continue moving forward, not to quit and not to make any rash decisions and to move away from what we're trying to accomplish. Because oftentimes things get really tough and the pressure piles on. And especially if you're moving out of your comfort zone and you're trying to do something different. You're trying to step out of the norm. You're trying to make something that's special. You're trying to hit people on a deep level, or you're trying to make a product that will change the world or make some kind of heavy, deep impact, or you're trying to do something that will help the society and help people evolve and help people move forward. You're doing some kind of positive thing, and people maybe won't get behind you. People maybe won't support you. Maybe you can't seem to get behind yourself. Maybe your family can't get behind you. Maybe your closest friends and siblings are doubting you, and maybe you are beginning to doubt yourself as a result of that. Well, the key is very simple. Keep going. Keep going no matter what. That is your only idea that I want you to keep in your head for today, or right now at least. I want you to think about that no matter what happens in your life, no matter what point, what area, what space you get into, no matter what comes up, no matter how hard it gets. I want you to think about one thing when that happens, and even right now, to keep moving you forward. I want you to think the very simple thought of keep going no matter what. Keep going no matter what. Keep going no matter what. I want you to ingrain that a little bit in your head. I want you to really memorize it. I want it to just pop into your head whenever the doubts come up, whenever something starts to happen to you. Because this is what I did. And when I started my journey, it was very hard, very difficult and challenging, and I was impatient, and I was trying to push everything and trying to get everything to happen at once, trying to get all the results, trying to have all the happy things and good things happen to me, and it wasn't happening. It wasn't moving forward, and people were doubting me, and people were questioning me, and people were saying, hey, well, why are you doing this? This isn't gonna go anywhere, it's not gonna happen. And of course it did, but it took a while. And during the course of that time, the very simple phrase that kept me going was keep going no matter what. Keep going no matter what. Keep going no matter what. And every time something came up, every time a doubt, a thought that was negative, something challenging me, somebody in front of me, no matter what, no matter how big or small they were, anybody who would question me, and even if I myself began that negative self-talk process, I would simply say, keep going no matter what, because that ultimately is the key. You gotta keep going no matter what. It doesn't matter how great you are, it doesn't matter how fantastic your idea is, and how badly the world needs it, and how much it would help every single human being on planet Earth if you just made it happen. The truth is, it won't happen unless you keep going no matter what, because things are gonna come up. Again, and I talked about this in yesterday's episode. I want you to go and watch that if you didn't already. But the key really is to keep moving. The key really is, no matter what happens, day in and day out, you are making some kind of step, some kind of progress. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, I don't care if it's a minute, I don't care if it's 15 minutes, because the time adds up. The time adds up, and eventually you get to a critical mass, you hit a certain point, and you break through. And when you're least expecting it, maybe when you're most expecting it, who knows, you will all of a sudden spurt out, everything will begin to happen for you. You'll notice that all the pieces just fall into place, and it's such a magical, great moment, but it's very subtle, and it's very slow, and it's very tedious to get to that point. And the thing is, most people never see the promise of that, and therefore they can't seem to keep moving. So in addition to keep going no matter what, keep moving forward no matter what, however you want to phrase it, have something along the lines of, I will get there. I will get there. Keep going no matter what, and I will get there. If you can link those two up, that's when you really have the magic. It sounds simple, it sounds very basic. In fact, it is very basic, but the truth is, if you apply it, you can see an instant shift in your life. You can see an instant shift in terms of your consistency, in terms of your rate of carrying through on things, in terms of you keeping your own word. Because if you can see the promise of what will happen in the future, if you can see a better future, and if you can see yourself moving to a place where maybe you couldn't imagine before, and if you can link that up with simply the statement, simply the truth, simply the fact of keep moving forward no matter what, that's when you have real magic. You get out of it what you put into it. Whatever energy and passion and excitement that you put into a task, whatever thoughts you have going into it, whatever you really think about it, whatever you truly feel about it, it's exactly what you get out at the end. Maybe not as a direct manifestation, but in one way or another, it is what you're getting out of it. The more you invest into something, the more you get out of it. The more you commit to something, the more likely you'll get the result that you want. And the more you generally put in, the higher the result will be. And therefore you need to understand that you must get very, very fired up with what you're doing. You need to get passionate, you need to get energetic, you need to get crazy with it, and you need to really spark yourself, get yourself ignited, get yourself passionate in whatever task it is that you're doing. Remember, the way you do one thing is usually the way you do everything. And therefore it's very important that whatever it is that you're doing right at this moment, or whatever it is that you were doing earlier, whatever it is that you're going to do later, that you go into it with all of you, that you get passionate about it, that you get fired up about it. Because otherwise, what is really the point? What is really the point of being half a human being with half presence and half effort and half a passion and half a purpose? Instead, simply live fully, live extravagantly, go in all the way, be over the top. It's boring to live life on these norms, these normal norms that everyone is living after, these standards that people have set for themselves, that society sees as normal. Why be that person who's just average? Why be the person who holds yourself back, your self-expression, your passion, your energy for something, when you could exert yourself fully and you would get so much more out of life? You would get so much more out of whatever it is that you're doing. Why not go into it with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your passion and energy that you have in your body, and exert that into whatever the task at hand is? Because you know that when you do that, you enjoy it so much more. You get so much more result out of it, and you also move to a higher level in terms of your awareness, your presence, and your consciousness, and your vibrational frequency goes up and up and up. That means you enjoy life on the higher level. That means you live life on the higher level. And that means the people that you attract into your life are on the higher level. Everything just goes to the next level, right? Very simple, very straight, very to the point. You can apply it very easily, but keep this in your mind when you're doing this. When you're getting fired up about something, it's very easy to drop that after a few minutes, after a few hours, and especially when things don't go your way. You can get fired up and motivated right now. You're listening to me talk. You're like, yes, I'm gonna go out and smash it. I'm gonna go out and crush it. I got all that passion and all that energy inside me. And then once you start hitting it for a little while, let's say you go to the gym, the first 10 minutes, yes, crushing it. Then after an hour, you're tired and your routine is 2 hours, then you got a problem. If you are doing a sport and you're playing well for 15 minutes, and then for the rest of the 45 or the 90 or the 120 minutes, who knows, you're just crap, you're down, you're feeling terrible, you lose your energy. I want you to keep up your energy. In addition to getting fired up, I want you to keep staying fired up. I want you to stay fired up. I want you to remain fired up. I want you to keep being fired up and continue firing yourself up throughout the process, simply thinking the thought of, why am I doing this? Simply thinking the thought, something along the lines of, what's the reason behind this? In what way does this serve me? And in what way am I going to invest into this? What am I going to get out of it? And with that in mind, it's a lot easier to get passionate about things. If you think a little bit about what you might get out of doing any task, what you might get out of maybe sitting down and working on your business. It might not be much in that instant moment. It might not seem as much when you're working on it, but what will it bring in the future? What's the promise of it? What's the potential of it? See it that way. See things for what they could be instead of what they are, and you will get even more fired up. Now, I'm not saying don't be realistic and don't look at what's in front of you, but I'm saying try to see it as a little bit more. Project a vision, project a future, and when you do this, oftentimes you're also dictating the way that things go. Therefore, it's very, very powerful. And so getting fired up can mean a lot of things for you. It can mean that you actually are envisioning the future and therefore creating it, or it can mean that you just have a lot more energy in whatever it is that you do. However you apply this, I hope that it helps, and I will see you on the next one. The vast majority of us human beings are still consuming things that are not helpful to us, that do not add value to us on our journey, that do not support us in becoming the best that we can be, and definitely don't move us any closer to our goals. These things are usually completely overlooked and seen as normal, and seen as something that's just part of the culture, or it's just something that we do, or it's just something that we have, something that we consume, that's just the standard. But the standard is very, very messed up, and if you follow the standard, you're sure sure to meet some resistance and some failure on your path to success, and you will definitely encounter more resistance than you will if you cut some of these things out. And so what I highly recommend is take a good look at the things that you're consuming on a daily basis. And when I say consuming, I don't just mean in the sense of eating it or watching it or listening to it. There's so many different ways of consumption. You might be putting it in your hair, you might be buying it and using it as an electronic device, whatever it is, whatever way you're making use of this thing or whatever substance it is. If you're consuming it, I want you to pay attention to, is this useful to me? Is this helpful to me? Is this adding to me on my journey? And chances are a lot of the things that you're consuming are not helping you get to where you want to be. And then you're wondering why you aren't getting any closer to your goals. You see a lot of people that are trying to lose weight might go to the gym, and then later on in the week they might be falling off, eating some crappy food and saying, why am I not seeing any results? Why am I not getting the things that I want? Well, it's pretty damn obvious you're not getting it because you are not really doing the right thing consistently. You're just doing it for a little bit, and then you're consuming a bunch of crap, and of course that takes you into a bad place. It's not enough to just do a little bit of the good, and that's the thing that makes this all very difficult for most people, because one little bad thing can spoil so much good. One little negative, just one small thing, you might say, oh well, it's not a big deal. For me myself, I had a real issue with video games. Okay, I had a real problem with this. For some people it might be a joke, to a lot of you maybe it will resonate, but I was very addicted, and if I would play for, let's say an hour, it was on my mind all day. That was all I could think about. I remember back when I was going through my depression stages, and it was really tough, because even if I just said I'm just gonna play for an hour, it ended up being 8 or more. It ended up being all night. It ended up me sacrificing my sleep, and I'm feeling shitty, drained, tired, depressed throughout the day, and then I'm going around wondering, well, what's wrong? The world must be doing this to me. It's somebody else's fault, but it's not. It's your own fault. It's your own responsibility. It's your own personal responsibility to take control of your life and really decide what kind of factors you allow and what you consume. This is very important. Take a good look at what are the foods that you're putting into your body. What are the foods? Are they processed? Are they full of sugar? Are they full of salt and wheat and all these things that you probably already know, will not affect you very positively, especially in high amounts, especially in the amounts that most people consume them in, and you're still continuing that habit, you're still continuing that intake, and you're thinking, well, that's normal, everybody does it, therefore it must be okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. If you want extraordinary results, you gotta be an extraordinary human being. You gotta be having some extraordinary habits, and you gotta be following some extraordinary disciplines, and otherwise you're not gonna have extraordinary results. You're gonna have average results if you act like an average person. If you eat what an average person eats, probably gonna end up average. If you watch what an average person watches, then you're probably gonna end up average, Very likely you're watching this. This is something that average people do not watch. It's personal development, working on yourself, motivation, keeping yourself on top of your game and trying to stay on the peak state. That's uncommon. And of course, if the rest of your life also aligns with that, you're very quickly going to start gathering up some amazing results. However, if you still are consuming things that are not helpful to you, whether it's a substance, whether it's an electronic device that maybe you're using too much, or maybe it's the wrong kind of electronic device that's not helping you or moving you forward in the right direction, and maybe it's a video game console instead of a computer that you might be doing some work on that will actually produce some value to the marketplace, that will actually make you move forward on some of your projects. There are different ways to use all these different things that we have in front of us as opportunities, but a lot of us get it wrong. A lot of us take the things that we know we shouldn't be taking because it's just normal, because it's just standard. But again, if you want to have something extraordinary, do something extraordinary, be something extraordinary, and only consume things and use things that really are extraordinary and that are going to make you be extraordinary. Oftentimes, we want things to happen a little quicker than they do. Oftentimes, we want to see the reward of the effort that we've been putting in sooner and quicker than it actually comes in. And something that we have to learn in life is to simply have patience with what we're doing, with the people that we're around, with the network that we're trying to build, with the business that we're creating, with the nutritional program that we're trying to nail down, or the fitness program that we're trying to follow and stick to. And seeing the results from that takes time. Seeing the results from any hard work and effort takes time. What you sow is what you reap, but you don't reap instantly. You don't reap in the very next moment. You reap after a great summer of lots of watering and lots of maintaining and upkeeping, and then at the end you get the result. Instead of looking for that instant gratification, instead of looking for that instant solution, because that usually is a waste of time, try to go in with the long haul in mind. If it's worth it to you, you'll stick in with it, you'll stay with it, you'll stay with it for long enough until you get the result, instead of always quitting on it. Because if you're quitting on it, it must not mean that much to you, huh? It must really not matter that much. I mean, if it does, try the approach of waiting. Try the approach of having some more patience. Stop checking every second whether it worked or not. Stop looking for, is it working, is it working, is it working? Forget about that. Instead, do the hard work that you know you're supposed to do, that you know is the right thing to do, and go with that for a while. Go with that and get used to it. Just keep doing it, and then before you know it, it'll happen very quickly for you because you're not anticipating it any longer. You're not trying to look around the corner for it. You'll have the results. The results will come, but it takes that patience. And usually what I find is when you're trying to look for something, when you're trying to wait for something, it never comes around. However, when you let go of it, almost like going to sleep. Try to go to sleep right now. Try really hard to go to sleep. Maybe some of you are able to pull that off. But for most of us, that simply won't work. You have to let it go. You have to let it go for it to happen. You have to let go of yourself. You have to let your mind drift away and go to sleep, fall asleep. However, if you're constantly trying to make it happen, see the result, it's not going to work out this way. It's going to be a pain in the butt because you're going to keep trying and you're going to keep not seeing results. And of course, that makes you miserable because you're putting in all this effort. But look, effort is not solid or worth it or it doesn't have any value when you're doing it in a way where you're constantly looking for a quick fix, constantly looking for a quick solution. That is not the real way of solving your problems or getting the results that you want. The real way is to go in and do the things that you know are right to do, put in the work that you know is required, and then wait, and then keep doing that for a while. Keep doing it. When I say a while, for me it took a year. For you, it might not take that long. It depends on what task it is. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're going to the gym, a lot of people are waiting, expecting results within the first week, within the first 2 weeks. Well, you might have to wait a month or 2 months of sticking to what you're supposed to do, and you might have to nail down several other areas of your life to really get it right. You know, it's not as easy as just boom, there it is. But everybody wants that quick fix. No one gets it. So they turn to, other substances and they go downhill with their life, or they just give up and they don't keep trying, they don't keep growing. However, if you do want them results, if you do want that awesome lifestyle, if you want those things that you really desire, those things to be real in your life, to actually have them, simply stay patient for a little longer and remain with the task, the effort, the energy that you need to keep putting in. Keep doing that. Stay consistent with it and watch the magic that happens, because it's absolutely amazing. If you can stick to something and dedicate yourself 100%, you will absolutely 100% of the time get the results. You just have to stick with it for long enough and you'll be pleasantly surprised. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're usually right. Now, this is something Henry Ford said a while ago, but it's something that I hold very close to me. And it's a thought and an idea and a philosophy that really works out for you if you apply it fully. Because the thing is that you have so many self-fulfilling prophecies going on in your life right now. There are so many weird and strange beliefs that you have in your mind that you haven't even examined. And there are so many ideas and thoughts that you hold about things that are coming to life as a real manifestation, as a direct result of the thoughts that you have about it. Because the world, it's not about the reality, it's about how we perceive that reality. It's about what we make of it. It's about what we think it is, more so than what it actually is. Because us human beings have a very twisted perception that's very tailored to each individual based on how we grew up, how we were socialized, the experiences that we went through, and the things that we've encountered throughout our life, and the choices that we made. And therefore, we're very, very, very biased by our own brain because of the things that we've gone through. Our experiences heavily dictate the way that we're gonna continue experiencing life, the way that we're gonna continue to move forward, the decisions that we're gonna make, the choices that we take, and the way that we go through life, our attitude, our philosophy, our thoughts, everything is heavily impacted by our past. But if you want to make some significant changes, if you want to improve, if you want to go to the next level, it's extremely important and vital that you apply this idea of self-fulfilling prophecies and that you hold powerful thoughts in your head so that the reality that you experience is a positive one rather than something that you don't enjoy. If you want to have a great life, if you want to have a great future, if you want to have a great time today, then start changing the beliefs that you're holding in your head. Start to move them into a place where they're positive, uplifting, and they're supporting you instead of constantly bringing you down and making you feel shitty about yourself and what you're doing. Because the truth is, no matter how you feel about it, you can always pull through. You can always make it happen. If you have the right thoughts in the back of your head, if you know the right things, if you deeply in the core of you believe it, it will absolutely happen for you. It doesn't matter if the present moment is a little messed up. It doesn't matter if you don't quite feel like doing what you need to do. As long as you carry through and you fully believe with 100% certainty that it can happen for you, it absolutely will happen for you. It's exactly what I did. It's how I got everything that I have in my life right now and how I continue to achieve the next goal and the next goal and keep moving forward and keep moving forward and keep getting more amazing things in my life. It's simply due to the fact that I believe 100%. I move with 100% certainty. Not 50, not 75, not even 99. I 100% believe in exactly what I'm doing in this current moment. I give it my all. I bring my full presence, and that's very, very, very powerful. So if you want to start seeing some amazing results, if you want to start getting what you actually want instead of half getting it, half results, go in with all of you, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy when you fully believe that you can make it happen, that you're the one, that whatever you're doing is the right thing to do. Things move very differently in contradiction and in complete opposite to when you don't believe in it. When you don't believe in it, it won't happen for you. When you don't believe in it, it won't go your way. When you think that maybe it might work out, well then maybe it might work out. So simply believe fully. Put all of you into it and watch the amazing things that begin to happen as you create the most powerful self-fulfilling prophecies for yourself and you make your life exactly what you want it to be. Something that I believe to be extremely underestimated in life, in the world, in people's minds is simply the idea of enjoying every single day to its fullest. Something that most people don't really do is experience the current moment, the present, whatever's happening right now to its maximum potential. They never really take in fully what is around them. Instead, they're always looking around the corner for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I've mentioned this so many times, but I want to tell you today that this is something that is absolutely crucial and essential to really making the most of your experience. Because look, you're gonna live your life, you're gonna go through the experiences, you're gonna go through the emotions, you're gonna go through some pain, through some hardship, you're gonna go through probably some success if you push yourself. If you work hard, you're probably gonna get a lot of good things as well. But at the end of the day, all of that is very, very up to the way that you perceive it, up to the way that you look at it. And you can make it, you can make a failure into something good, or you can make a success into something bad. You know, a lot of people that have reached extreme heights, maybe financially, actually become miserable because what was making them happy was that journey and chasing it and keeping that spark alive and always trying to expand. But look, at the end of the day, what really matters is how much did you enjoy this ride? Because as far as you know, you only get one. As far as you know, you might not get another one. And therefore, why not live it to its maximum potential? Why not make the very most of it? Now, I do believe that after this we'll be okay and you'll be okay and you don't need to worry about that. So don't live life in fear of death or something like that, because it's not going to help either. That's not going to maximize your experience right now. What you instead can do is have blind faith and trust in that everything will be okay and it'll work out, and instead just make the very most of it. Instead, just put all of you into it. Instead, pour your heart and soul into every single moment, into every interaction, into every action that you take, into everything that you watch and read, into everything that you say and speak, into everything that you do. Put your heart and soul into it, because why not? Why not? Why not? What's the point of living when not really living? What's the point of getting up and going through these zombified motions and emotions of the stale everyday routine that you hate, going to a job, to a place where you don't want to be, and then not even enjoying it? You know, it's just, what's the point? That's most of your day, that's most of your time gone to nothing. If you're not going to enjoy it, don't do it. Do something that you enjoy, do something that you like, something that you love. And if you can make that work for you financially as well, that's great, and you can have that success working for you too. But at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're doing today, whatever it is that you have been doing, why not enjoy it? Whatever it is you're you're gonna do. Why not enjoy it? It's a very simple idea, a very simple philosophy, but I think it's something that people forget. And so I simply just want to remind you today to enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy today, enjoy tomorrow, enjoy the next week. Try to really enjoy the next month. What will make today amazing for you? That's a good question I like to ask people. What would make today amazing for you? Just today. We don't have to think about the next year. We don't have to think about if your business is going to succeed so much today. We don't have to think about is everything gonna fall into place and work out just the way it should. Forget about that. What would make today amazing? What would make today amazing? What would make today amazing for you? What would make today a day worth living? A day that you would never forget? Go do that. Go do that and do that over and over again and see what happens. Amazing things will happen. That's what I did. And at the end of the day, you'll sleep so much better. You'll feel so much better. You'll have so much more energy. You'll be excited and you'll have lots of emotions that are positive going through your body. This is how we're meant to live. Why go through it with a half-assed motion? Are you watching this? Are you enjoying this right now? If you're watching this video, are you making the most of this? Are you drinking your favorite beverage and thinking it's a good video? Or are you sitting there thinking, oh well, I had a tough day, I'm tired, I'm having a bad morning, my partner said this, and someone at work, and blah blah blah. Forget about all that shit. Forget about that shit and enjoy today, okay? Because otherwise, what is really the point? What is really the point if you're not going to enjoy your day? A lot of us claim to be so-called perfectionists. A lot of us think that things have to be done just right or not done at all. However, this is something that will hold you back, limit you, and restrain you from a lot of success, from a lot of progress, and from actually moving forward and actually accomplishing your goals. Because trying to get everything just right or hitting that standard of perfection is pretty much impossible, and it's not really going to happen consistently. Therefore, it is something very, very important, something very essential to get things done one way or another, to get things done no matter what, to not obsess and focus your attention on getting things just right, on all the little detail, and instead focus on the big picture. Instead focus on the big vision, actually getting the things and the steps done and moving forward rather than getting it just right, rather than nailing it 100% perfectly. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't pay any attention to detail. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try your best. In fact, you should try your best each and every time. However, I am saying that there's a point where you're spending too much time obsessing and thinking about how you're supposed to get it just right, spot on, everything perfect, everything just the way that you have it in your head, and it's very unlikely that this will come to life. It's very unlikely that you'll get your project done when you think like this. So I want you to really get rid of this mindset and replace it with just get it done no matter what. Get it done no matter what, and as best as possible, of course. But at the end of the day, just get it done. Just get it done one way or another. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is, did you make progress? Did you take one step forward? Did you move? Did you expand and grow? Or did you stay in the same place that you are right now, that you were before you started? Did you make barely any movement? And maybe you could have made 10 times the progress if only you were willing to sacrifice a little bit of that perfectionist quality. And when you look at it, you can always change things in the future. You can always make it better and better and better. Of course, you can have days where it's not perfect, but still make progress. And that's really what I'm getting at here. I want you to make progress no matter what kind of day it is. Whether it's a crappy day or it's an amazing day, I want you to take a step forward, because what really matters is that momentum that you build up. That momentum is what will create amazing success for you. That momentum will bless you and work for you your whole life. If you just keep taking one step every day, you'll feel amazing about your project. You'll feel tremendous. You'll feel great. However, if you keep procrastinating and thinking it has to be just right, your brain will get absolutely fried and you will feel miserable. Therefore, 100% from the bottom of my heart, I recommend to you that you just move. If you go and look back to one of my first videos, if you check out one of the first videos that I ever made, you'll very quickly see that I got over my perfectionist thing and just made one. And since then, the quality has just been going up and up and up, and it will continue to do so. However, keep this in mind, even when you've made a lot of progress, even when you've come really far, there will still be dips, and you need to be okay with this. You need to be okay with that. Every day will not be one step up, it's just one step forward. And that's really the key. That's really that momentum, and it will carry through. It'll help you so much. You'll get things done, and you'll feel a lot better about the process too. Don't worry about how great it is or how perfect it is. Instead, focus on that you're getting it done, and that's really the main piece. While everyone else is having their nap, or their 10-hour sleep, or their 1 hour lunch break, you need to be working. You need to be hustling. You need to be putting in the energy and the effort and the dedication each minute and each second of your day. As much time of it as possible needs to go into whatever it is that you want to really work for you. If you want something bad enough, if you really love something, if you really care about something, if you really want to have results, then dedicate yourself 100%. Go all in. And while everybody else is slowing down, speed up even more and create even more momentum. Because while your competition is sleeping, you can be working. While everybody else is ill and down with the flu, sleeping for a week, just wasting away, you can still be making movement forward. And that's the thing. Most people don't realize that even though you're not quite feeling well, even though maybe you're tired, even though maybe things aren't perfect, you can still make progress. You can still make movement. You can still move yourself forward in the right direction. You don't have to feel perfect. You don't have to be in perfect shape. You don't have to have the perfect day going for you or the perfect conditions and everything just right. You can move anyway, and while everyone is resting, you can be making absolutely tremendous progress. You can be making a lot of progress while the time that they're spending is just going away, wasting away. And you're never going to get that time back anyway, so why not invest it? You're not going to get today back. What did you do with today? How did you make today matter? How did you push yourself? How did you move your most important projects, the things that you really care about? How did you progress on them? And if you didn't, how are you going to change that tomorrow? How are you going to shift it in such a way that while everybody else is down and having their downtime, while everybody else is taking a break, how can you make progress? How can you, in that time, continue to move forward and not kill your own momentum? Now, I'm not saying that you should never relax. I'm not saying that you shouldn't rest. I'm not saying that you should sacrifice all your sleep and have bad energy throughout the day instead. What I am saying, though, is that all that time that's downtime throughout the day, that time where you really don't need to be. You don't need an hour lunch. You really don't need an hour lunch. Why are you having an hour of lunch? Why are you sleeping for 10 hours? You don't need 10 hours. How many hours do you need? Find out and then sleep that amount. Can you get up earlier and go to sleep later? Most people at the end of the day, they don't really do anything productive at all. They just unwind and watch TV or do some crap that really doesn't matter. So why not spend that time instead? Kill that time off completely and move it to the start of your day where you are actually productive. Or if you love working at night, like some people claim they do, why don't you work at night? Why don't you maybe sleep in a little bit more and then work all that time in the evening where you're really productive, where you're really on it and you're killing it? Now, I think that you can make yourself be productive in the morning too. However, whatever works for you, really, just apply that and use that time. Use that time because that time is going to waste right now. I promise you, you have time throughout your day that's just dead. It's nothing. It's just there. You're walking around. You're going back and forward. You're in the bathroom for too long. You're doing things that you really don't need to be doing. And you can get rid of those things and replace them with ongoing movement forward. And the difference that you will feel is so huge. The momentum that you will build up is absolutely amazing. So I 100% from the bottom of my heart recommend that you get rid of your downtime, that while everybody else is resting and wasting their time, you move forward. Most of us tend to leave the things in our life up to someone else. We decide that things are up to fate. We do not take charge of our own faith, and we do not make the decisions that we need to make. We do not carry through. We do not take control. We do not take charge, and we don't manage to shape our life into what we want it to be. However, if you want to be someone who gets what you want, if you want to be someone who really crushes it, if you want to have tremendous progress and growth and evolution in your life, then you absolutely need to, it's crucial that you take personal responsibility for every single thing in your life. Now that goes for the things that you can't even control. That goes for everything. Why? Because it's very, very, very powerful. When you take responsibility for things, it means that you can change them. It means that you can make an impact. Means that you have the power to shift where the direction is going, the course. You can change the course of things. You can make an impact. You can really change something. However, when you're giving away your power by saying, well, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it was the weather, it was this, it was that person, if it wasn't for him or for her, well then it would work, but it's that person's fault, or this thing happened, then you're basically you're just giving away your power. You're just letting things be decided by what's going on around you. You're allowing your environment to control you, essentially. And this is something that you absolutely don't want to fall into. This is a pitfall that most people end up in, and it's something that you want to completely avoid. If you want to have tremendous progress and keep on moving forward in your life and do all the things that you want to do and have an amazing time and really enjoy yourself, you have to take responsibility, even for the bad things. And that's where the real trick is. That's where the challenge is, because everybody can be happy and take responsibility and say, yes, it was me, when you're winning, right? When you're winning, it's easy to say, it was me. It was me who did it because I'm winning. It was me who did it. How about when you lose? Whose fault is it then? Well, you know, I didn't have the right shoes on. That's why I didn't run as fast. That's bullshit. It's bullshit, and you know it, and everybody else knows it. And the only thing that you're doing is you're lying to yourself, and you're lying to everyone else too. It's always you. Always come back to you. Because when you come back to you, you get more power, even when you take responsibility for losing. And most people get this confused. They think, okay, well, if I take responsibility for winning, then I'll get stronger and stronger. But if I take responsibility for losing, that means I'll lose everything and I'll be weaker. It's not true. When you take responsibility for losing, you're actually building a very strong character. Remember, we build ourselves from breaking ourselves down. Remember the muscles, you know, when you want to build muscle, you gotta first go and mess them up and tear them down and get them broken down, and then they'll grow overnight. Again, take the right nutrition in, right? So it's very, very simple in the same way with character. It's very, very simple in the same way with everything in your life. All you have to do is start taking responsibility, saying, it was me. It was me. Even if it wasn't you, if it was someone else who messed up, it was me. It's my fault. I should have taught you better. I should have showed you. If you're a leader, if you're a manager, if you're an employer, you know, always take responsibility. Always take responsibility. It's your fault. Oh, they're not performing, you know? Just hired someone. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. It's your fault. Teach them better. Show them the way. It's up to you to make everything in your life what you want it to be. And the only way that you can do that is if you start taking personal responsibility for all of it. All of it. All of it. Even the things that you don't want to take responsibility for. In fact, those are the most important. Those are the ones that I want you to start saying, it was me. It's not my fault, but it's up to me. It's my responsibility. Don't blame yourself. That's a different game. Stay away from that. Don't start blaming yourself. It's easy to say, well, it's my fault, I'm terrible, everything sucks. No, no, no. That's a whole different world. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, it's up to me. It's my responsibility. I'm going to sort it out. I'll find a way. I'll make it happen. That's the kind of attitude that is the most amazing, the most powerful. The way that people feel around somebody like that is tremendous. It's amazing. So be that person and enjoy it. So I've touched on this quite a bit before, but today I want to really focus on it. Most people do not ever allow their project or their vision or their passion to really catch on fire, to really get some momentum behind it, to really get some movement, and to start moving it forward properly. Most people stop and then keep going and then stop and then eventually just give up. And one thing that's really, really important in any project, whatever it is that you're doing, it's essential that you don't take that many breaks, that you don't make that many stops, because the more stops you make, the slower it's gonna take. And yes, that's very obvious and it sounds so silly and stupid and so basic. And it is basic, but it's very, very true. The more you stop, not only does it pause for that time, but it also destroys the momentum that you're carrying with you. Now, again, I'm not saying that you should never stop, that you should never take a break. I'm not saying that you should never, ever pause, but I am saying that the more you can avoid that, and the more that you can stick to actually carrying through with the processing, keep on working on your thing, it's gonna make the whole progress a lot easier and a lot quicker, just a lot quicker. It's gonna make everything less of a headache for you, and you're just gonna enjoy it a lot more. Look, when you start something, when you're trying to do something, it's very, very easy to stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, because that's our human tendency. That's just how we're built. We work for a bit and then we pause and then we do something else. And most people waddle around and just dabble when they're meant to get down, get dirty and do the hard work. And that's what I really want you to do if you want to stand out and if you want to get things done efficiently and quickly. Instead of setting your 15 to 30 minute timer, go in depth. Get it done today, get it done tomorrow, get it done this month, however long you think it should take. Make it even faster than that, because it's definitely true that it's possible. Most things can move faster unless it's not under your control, and of course you can't make everything move forward as fast as you like, but for most of the time, most of your projects, whatever it is that you have control over, those things, move them faster, because it shows the type of person that you are when you're carrying that momentum, when you're pushing things in the right direction, when you're always speeding up and you keep moving, you don't stop, you don't break, you don't pause, you don't hesitate, you don't dabble, you don't waddle around, you just execute. That is a very, very powerful trait to have as a human being. That's something that only the people that really are doers, the people that really get things done, those people act like this. While other people, most people dabble, most people waddle, most people go back and forward and they switch from one thing to the other and they try a bit of this and a bit of that, but they never really get anything done. And if you recognize yourself in that spot, I definitely used to be one of those people, then try to step out of it. Try to make a shift today where you stop being a person who never really fully completes things. If you're the type of person who just kind of half-asses it or half gets it done and then kind of leaves it and then maybe comes back to it later, let go of that. Start executing fully. Start getting things done. Not just for the sake of getting the thing done, but because the way that you will feel about yourself. That's the most important thing here that I want to stress to you. The way that you feel when you move like this is a whole different world, a whole different dimension compared to if you're the person who keeps dabbling, who keeps waddling. Cut that shit out. You're killing your own momentum. I don't want you to do that to yourself. I want you to have a good time, experience life to the fullest. If you want to do that, move quickly, push yourself. Push the projects, make it go faster, don't stop, don't waddle, don't dabble, get it done, and you'll feel a lot better, everything will move a lot faster, and in turn you'll be a lot happier because you're getting it done, and that's really what matters. "15 minutes that will forever change your life." It definitely did mine. When I started setting my monthly goals, I had no idea what would really happen. I didn't really think that any of this would come true or that anything that I wrote on a piece of paper really mattered. However, it does. It really does. In fact, when I started putting real numbers in front of myself and I started looking at it as this is what I gotta accomplish this month. No matter what happens, I gotta get this done. It was a complete game changer for me. Now, I didn't nail everything down perfectly the first time, and even now I still make mess ups and I don't always perfectly execute everything. However, I do get very, very close and sometimes go above and beyond. And what's great is when you start to really put the vision in front of you and really manifest it in a way where it's like, okay, this is the number, this is what I want, and then you start to move towards it and you see the number getting there, it's such an amazing feeling. Now, what I'm talking about here is setting goals in terms of any area of your life where you have some numbers that are involved, whether that be finance, relationships, whether that be any area of your life and career, any number that you can think of, really, you can set a goal with it. If you want to read a certain amount of books in your personal development, whether you want to listen to a certain amount of tapes, or you want to go to a certain amount of seminars or events, or you want to do a certain amount of speeches, or you want to do some videos, or you want to do whatever you want to do, okay? It doesn't really matter what it is. What matters is that you start getting some numbers in front of you that say, hey, buddy, here's what you're doing this month. Here's what you're getting done, and you're not going to get away with anything less. This is a complete and entire game changer. It takes 15 minutes per month to sit down and write out your goals for this month. And I'm not saying be realistic or don't be realistic. You decide yourself what you want to put on this piece of paper. But what's really important, and the key here, is to hang it up in front of you. Wherever you're working the most, whatever spot you're in the most, that is the place that I want this piece of paper of yours to hang, this monthly time frame of these goals, these amazing goals, and your time frame is there, everything is right in front of you. And when you have it that way, you start to move towards it automatically. Whether you like it or not, it starts to get ingrained in your head, and you start thinking, okay, I gotta do something towards this. You look at that and you feel bad. No, look, really what I'm saying to you is that you need to have a plan. You need to have some kind of idea, rough estimation of where you're going. Because if you're just gonna set sail and hope for the best, well then you're gonna end up down the stream like everybody else, right? So let go of that and instead get into a spot where you are planning out your month at least roughly. Now, weekly planning is great and daily planning is great, but for me, monthly planning is the greatest because monthly planning gives me enough time and enough space, enough room to breathe, as well as a long-term-ish vision that says, okay, here's what's got to be done. And then I write out the steps. The things that I do on a daily basis are more tailored towards that. Now, the week can be structured towards that as well, however you like to do it, but this is a great place to start. Really, I'm aiming this at you if you're not doing this already. If you're not already setting up your week, you're not already setting up your month, I want you to start putting down some goals. Put down some numbers. How hard can it be, right? Put down some numbers that say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish this month. And then try to do it. So simple. This is what I did. And it completely changed my life immediately. Once I set some monthly goals, everything started to shift towards it. Now, it didn't really happen all at once, like I already said. It doesn't all just flash in and then perfect, you smash it, but it does happen over time. And therefore, you might as well start right now if you haven't already. All I'm saying is, if you start putting down your monthly goals, it is a lot more likely that they'll come true and you'll get what you want. The fact is that most people go through their life and through their day and through their projects and through whatever they're doing in turtle gear. They move very, very slowly, tediously slow, and they barely really make any progress on a day-to-day basis, let alone a week and a month and a year. And it's just crazy to look at how much a person doesn't get done rather than how much a person does get done, because our potential is absolutely unlimited and you can do whatever it is that you want if you really set your mind to it. The crazy thing is that we all have the same amount of time each day. However, some people, will move mountains, ships, make crazy things happen, while others can barely get themselves out of bed. What's the difference? Well, one of the biggest differences is in here, and that's usually what it all comes down to. It's the state of mind and the way, the ideas that you have, the philosophies that you have about life and everything that you're doing, as well as, of course, the technique and having the skill and having the talent, if you want to call it that, or the gift to be able to do it. But when it comes down to it, if you speed up what you're doing and you put some processes in place and you start thinking, okay, how can I be effective about this? Things will begin to move faster. Whatever you put your attention on is what usually tends to happen. And while other people are thinking, why isn't this going faster? Why isn't this going faster? Why is it so slow? You can start thinking about how can I move it faster? And now the same thing goes for your emotions. If you don't like the way you feel, instead of saying, well, I don't feel good, so I don't feel like doing it, why don't you start thinking about how can I change how I feel so that I do want to do it? And even if you don't feel like it, you should, of course, do it, get it done. That's one of the big things that I've noticed is between success and unsuccessful, is the simple difference of I'll do it no matter how I feel. But being able to change your emotion is that entire level up. And so I want that for you. I want you to be able to shift. I want you to be able to switch instantly. It feels good to be able to take control of your body and not allow it to run wild. That's one of the ways that you can get effective. That's one of the ways that you can start getting more things done. But also, you gotta have another thing in mind. You've gotta start planning. You gotta start planning. You gotta start thinking about how am I gonna execute this faster? How am I gonna move it forward more powerfully? How am I going to make this move along even better? And if you start putting your brain onto that, if you get very intentional on that, it will begin to happen for you and you'll start to see the shift very, very instantly. It's absolutely insane to see the amount of people that are robbing themselves of their full potential, the amount of people that are actually sacrificing and giving up how much they could do and how much they could create and all the amazing things that they're capable of just for some half-assed experience of life. They don't live fully, they don't live powerfully, they live an average and mediocre existence. They live something that they don't actually want to live. And what is then the point of living if just to live? I mean, there's nothing wrong with living just to live, but there is something wrong with living and hating living, not enjoying your life, right? Not enjoying your existence is a disease that is absolutely miserable, terrible, and shouldn't have to be experienced by people. I think that if you're in a situation where you're not enjoying your life, you're not happy, you need to begin to push yourself to get out of that situation. Now, most people will be sympathetic towards you and say, oh yeah, of course you're depressed, blah, blah, blah. No. Your dad left you, your mom left you, something happened, something terrible, some tragedy, something that you couldn't have done anything with, and now you're a victim for the rest of your life. Screw all that noise. That is terrible, terrible thinking, and it's not going to get you anywhere. I don't care what happened to you. We all have struggle, we all have pain, some worse than others, but at the end of the day, there's only one way out, and that is to push yourself out. Whatever pit you've fallen into, whatever you've had to go through, whatever you're going through now, it's very important that you grab yourself fully. You take control of this thing called your body and your mind and your soul and whatever you have within you, and you bring that to the outside. You fight with it. You give it every last drop, every ounce, every breath that you have. You pour it in. You pour it in day and night, and only then are you going to see those most amazing, extraordinary, incredible results that you've been after. Only then will things really begin to unlock for you the way that you want them to unlock for you. Only then will the pieces all fall into place and align the way that you always envisioned it. And only then can you absolutely feel accomplished and fulfilled, because only then are you living up to what you're capable of. Only then are you really going way above and beyond average and creating a life that is extraordinary, doing something that is way beyond the norm. Only then can you really push yourself beyond those limits that you've had before. Only then can you really conquer your fear. Only then can you really push yourself beyond where anybody else has ever gone before. That's when you can create those amazing results that the world hasn't even dreamed of yet, that you can bring to life, because you are capable, because you have something, because you have a gift, because you have a passion, right? You have something that you want to do. You have something that you want to create. You have something that you can bring to the table, and you're holding that back from us, and you're suffocating the whole world because you're not bringing that out. If you're not bringing that out, now if you are, well done to you. Keep doing it. Go harder, go faster, push firmer, do it with all of you. Push yourself fully, because you're capable of more than you're doing right now. Even I myself sometimes fall into this thing where I think, oh, well, that's all I got. That's all I got. It's not all I got. I always got more, and so do you. You have more within you than you're giving right now. Let's push ourselves to the next level. Let's take what we're doing and elevate it each day, each time, each repetition a little bit stronger, a little bit firmer. If you're going to the gym, each rep a little bit heavier, pushing a little bit harder. Always maximizing your potential, always making the most of yourself, because you deserve it, and the world deserves to see what you're actually capable of. And that way, we can raise the vibrational frequency for everyone. Just inspire, motivate, uplift everybody. That's the way to go. That's the way to be an example, to push yourself fully, and to not settle for anything less than that. It's amazing to see what a human body and a human brain is actually capable of once it's connected to a strong enough why. Once it has a reason to drive it, once it has a purpose, once it has something that really makes it light up, spark, and then get going fully, attack things with all of it, and not just half-ass its way through the day. The things that we are capable of, it's beyond our own imagination. And the imagination really is the only cap. But most people never really tap into that, or never really live up to it fully. And one of the biggest reasons is usually people don't have a strong enough why. They don't have a strong enough purpose guiding and driving them through all the pain, through all the difficulty, through all the hardship. And therefore they tend to stop, they tend to pause, they tend to waver and be uncertain. And they tend to really just get lost and fall off track from what they're supposed to do. And they don't seem to really connect fully with their reason. Maybe they don't even have a reason in the first place. So if you're one of those people that hasn't figured out why you're doing what you're doing, it's time to go do so now. You've probably heard countless of examples of people turning their life around entirely by just finding their why, by just knowing exactly the reason for why they want to accomplish what they want to accomplish, instead of just knowing the what. Because everybody has a what, everybody has a thing, everybody has something that they want. However, not many people have a good enough reason to go get it, and therefore they never end up moving towards it. It's so stupidly simple, but most people never apply it. If you have a strong enough reason and a purpose driving you, pulling you towards it, it's much easier than pushing your way through every single day, because pushing your way requires a whole lot of energy, and you having to create all this spark and passion and all this drive. And instead, if you have a strong enough why, it'll just pull you towards it. It'll simply pull you towards that. If you see scenarios where For example, mothers see their child in danger. Immediately, their reaction, their response, that instinct kicks in of a whole nother level than what that person would usually be on, throughout a normal day, throughout the average life. They turn into this superhuman almost, and they'll do almost anything to save their child. They'll do everything that they can. And the same thing should go for you when it comes to what you're doing. Will you do anything? Will you do whatever it takes? Will you have that passion, that drive, that spark? Will you keep going no matter what? Because that's the only level of energy of exerting yourself that really is good enough, that really lives up to your potential. If you are going throughout your day with not giving all of you, with not driving through as strongly, as powerfully as you possibly can, then you're not going to get those very best top-notch level results. However, if you can connect to your why, your reason, your purpose, why you're doing what you're doing, immediately things will begin to shift, things will begin to change for you, and you'll start to see everything you're doing go to the next level just because you have something strong enough over there or over here or in here driving you, pulling you, and moving you instead of you always having to force your way through it. Us human beings have an incredible ability to infinitely push things off and to decide and to procrastinate and to continue to always move the important things that really matter to us away from ourselves. And we tend to always tell ourselves some kind of story that backs up and gives us a reason why it's not the right time, why we can't execute what we're meant to execute. We have infinite amount of excuses and not enough push and drive and passion. And we don't have enough positive characteristics about ourselves to carry on through and get it done anyway. But the secret is to start somewhere. The secret is to start even though you're not perfect. The secret is not to figure out all the perfect detail and to plan everything and then to think of the perfect plan, have everything just the right way before you start doing it. The key is to get it done today. The key is to do it today, to do it now, to not wait another second or another moment, or to put it off for another day or another 2 days, because someday is not a day of the week and someday never really comes. Therefore, it's very, very important that you take control, you take charge, and you instantly start to make things happen. Not tomorrow, not in an hour. Right after this video, or right now even, click pause and go do the thing that you've been putting off, because we all have something that we keep procrastinating on. We all have something at one time or another that we push aside, that we say it's not that important or it doesn't really matter. I'll do it when I have the time. I'll do it when it's the right time. I'll do it when I feel like it. And so it never really happens. So if you have something like that, I want you to go do it today. I want you to go do it right now. I want you to stop waiting. I want you to stop procrastinating, because ultimately the world will be a better place as long as you have something positive that you're going to do. Therefore, why not go do it? Why hold yourself back? Why suffocate the world? Why suffocate the planet of your greatness, of whatever it is that you want to achieve and accomplish and contribute with? Go and make that happen today. Stop waiting. And I don't care if it's not perfect, and neither does anybody else. No one really cares when you start. Therefore, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to try it and fail. It's okay to have it not work out the first time. Try another 4 or 5. Try another 10 times. Try another 20 times. And then go and tell everybody that it didn't work out. And even then you could keep trying. Even then you should keep trying. Because ultimately, if it means enough to you, that's what it takes. But most people don't even get to the first try. And then the vast majority of those who do give up after that. Therefore, you might as well try once right now. If you're gonna get it out of the way, just do it right now. And then you might as well try the second time, get it out of the way. It's gonna probably be a failure. Try the third time, probably gonna be a failure. That's the statistics. That's how it goes for most people. Maybe you'll hit a home run first time. Who knows? Who knows what you're capable of? If you don't try it, you'll never know. If you don't do it today, you won't know today. Maybe you'll know sometime in the future, That day isn't coming around very soon. That day is not about to happen, because so many people are going around telling themselves that story, and it's never going to come around. There won't be that perfect day. There won't be that perfect moment. There won't be that opportunity that you're looking for, where everything just aligns for you just the right way and you have everything that you need within you and you feel perfect, everything. Maybe it will happen, but most likely the time that will actually happen is once you do the thing. You do the thing, and then that's likely to happen. That moment might come around, but that moment will only come around when you least expect it. When you're already working on your thing, when you're already making things happen, that's when you start to have that perfect moment. Therefore, doing it now is what creates the perfect moment. And that's the real magic of this. So instead of waiting and procrastinating and delaying because you think that the perfect moment is around the corner, create the perfect moment. Create the perfect moment today. Go and do it today. Don't wait another second, not another minute. Don't wait, don't watch another video after this. Don't do anything except for that thing that you've been putting off that you know you should be doing. Go and do that. Watch what happens, see what kind of results you get, and then try it again, and again, and again, and keep trying it. And if it means enough to you, you'll make it happen, and you'll have some tremendous success with it. Many times in life, we are discouraged and put off and distracted and sidetracked and not really focused because we think or we believe or we have some kind of projection of the future that says this will not work, this will not get me to where I want to be, this will probably not go anywhere or it won't take off. Oftentimes it's not from our inner voice telling us that, but rather from all of the environment saying so. Everyone around us tends to say, oh well, it won't work, you're never gonna get there. You're never really going to reach that goal, especially if it's sky high and maybe that person themselves couldn't reach something of that caliber. Therefore, people are constantly and ongoingly putting you down and basically pressing you towards the ground, and that's just the way that the society tends to be. Now, if you're lucky enough to have people around you that are fully supporting you and saying, you know, go for it, you're going to make it happen, then you are extremely fortunate and you have been dealt very good cards. But for most of us, we've been told that, you know, you're probably not going to make it. You're probably not going to make it, and your dream is probably never going to come true, so you're going to have to settle for something mediocre, you know, do your best, and then maybe you'll get something decent if you work hard. However, this is not true. It's a lie. It's a lie that's been sold to us and that we believed, especially when we're younger and we're susceptible to this kind of bullshit talk. We take it in and we believe it and we reaffirm it in our head through our experience, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where we're telling ourselves that we're never going to make it. We're telling ourselves, first other people, and then we are telling ourselves that we can't make it happen, that we're not capable. And of course we are capable. We are capable of anything that we want to achieve if we go in on it 100% fully with all of our heart, our soul, our gut, everything that we have in this body, in this human body, and attack it firmly, strongly, powerfully with all of us. We are absolutely capable of anything. And what I want you to do today is, if you've been putting something off because people told you, well, you're not going to make it, or you even told yourself that you're not going to make it, is try it anyway. Try it anyway. Just commit for 30 days. Just commit for 90 days. Just commit for a year, because a year is not a lot of time, believe it or not. You might think so right now. Say a year, oh, that's so long. It's not that long. It's really not that long. 11 months ago, I started my business. I made my first sale. I had my first client, and I began to deliver something that I didn't think I was capable of. First of all, I never thought anybody would pay me in the first place, but it was totally possible. And I just tried it, and guess what? It worked. You know, now I'm at a level where I never even could have imagined when I started. And even back there, when that happened, I had no idea that this could happen. What's happening with me now and the things that I'm doing now, it's amazing. It's crazy to think about how far I've come from a little boy that didn't believe that anything good could happen for him, that didn't believe that things could actually align and work out the way that he wanted it to, that he couldn't accomplish what he wanted to accomplish, and that he simply just wasn't good enough or capable, but he was. And so are you. Whoever you are, you're capable. You're capable of doing what it is that's in your head, or that you're feeling in here, or that you're feeling in here, and it says to you, that's what you're supposed to do. Go do it. Try it anyway. Try it anyway, no matter what they told you, whether they said, you know, we'll disown you if you try to do that, or, you know, it's never going to happen for you. You're going to be unsuccessful, and you're going to end up broke. You know, whatever they told you, I want you to lay that to the side. I want you to put that to rest and bring out this thing called your heart and say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with all of me. I'm going to hit it as hard as I can, and God damn it, if I fail, then that's okay. But at least it was me giving an honest try with all of me. I can almost guarantee you that you'll succeed. The truth is, it's not that hard. Once you hit it with all of you, once you give everything that you have, I'm very certain that you'll succeed. I'm very certain that you'll get it because I did, and because all the people that I work with do. And I've never seen anybody who doesn't commit fully. I've never seen anybody who does commit fully actually not accomplish it. That's what I mean. What I mean is that I've never seen anybody who went in with all of them and gave it everything they had not get what they want. Whether it took a little longer and they had to stay in, or it came straight away, regardless, it came to them at one time or another. So if you can commit and stick to something and say, this is what I'm going to do, and no matter what they told you, you try it anyway, the chance of success is becoming very, very high, okay? Because most people won't even go that far. And that's why there's no competition. There's nobody that's going to stop you, and there's nobody that's going to try to put you out of business, because there's barely anybody that even started that business. There's barely anybody, compared to the people that thought it, that imagined it, that actually carried through and executed. So be that person who executes. Be that person who carries through. And put all those disbeliefs, put all those things that held you back, all those limits, put them to the side and forget about them from now. And just try your best. Hit it with all of you and watch what happens. Amazing things. And you begin to make your dream actually come to life. So like I talked about so many times before, us human beings are capable of so much more than we really imagine. We have the potential that's absolutely never ending. To hammer this home point today, I'm standing on this ladder right here, and I want to talk to you really in depth about why you can always take it to the next level and why you should always be taking it to the next level. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that most of us fall into, that most people really go downhill from, that really damages some great growth, some great potential, that really destroys a lot of amazing results, is simply the idea, the terrible thing of complacency. Complacency is one of the ultimate growth killers. It's one of the things that will completely just annihilate any form of progress. It'll get you settled in nice and cozy in your comfort zone, and it'll kill all the future potential, everything that you wanted to do, everything that you could have accomplished through this thought, belief, or system of, I have done enough, I've accomplished enough, and there's no real next level for me, or I can't do any more than this. I already did everything that I could. And there is really no such thing. You know, a lot of people struggle with this problem. They get to a certain level of success in life, and they hit a plateau, and they hit a point, and they think, wow, that's it. I've made it. I don't think I can go any further. Maybe there's not that much more to this, but there's always a next level, one way or another. You can always expand and go wider, or you can go deeper into something. You can go more in depth and more in depth into whatever you're doing and really master it fully, completely. There's never a level of complete mastery with anything. You know, you can always get a little bit better. You can always invent the next level, the next step, if you like. You can always take things one notch up, and therefore, instead of getting settled into any form of complacency, when you start leveling up and you start doing great things and you start making an amazing impact, or you start doing something that really has meaning and some drive and passion behind you, and you're really getting going, whatever it is that you're doing, you know, be careful. Watch out for that complacency. That's something that you want to be really careful with, because if that creeps in on you and starts taking over and tells you, oh, well, you've done enough, you worked hard enough, you deserve a break, you know, all these things, it can very quickly snowball and take you downhill with the wrong kind of momentum that can quickly lead to simply becoming addicted to some kind of external validation and no longer doing what you're doing for the purpose of doing it. No longer expanding because you love it, but instead thinking and feeling and living in this place of, well, I'm just going to try to get as much out of it as possible, and that's it. I can't really do any more with this. Don't fall into that mindset. Stay in the growth mindset. That really is the key, to stay in the mentality of, I can always do more. What is the next level? What is the next level? What's the next step that I can do to make this even better, to make it even more awesome, to make even more of a tremendous impact? What can I do to really level up what I'm doing? And think that consistently. If you're into something and you've made some amazing progress, try bringing that thought up. It can create and spark some amazing ideas. I've seen that for myself over and over again. For an example, as I started this show, that was exactly the idea that was going through my head, and at the time, I was hitting some complacency, like, oh, I've done as much as I can with these daily videos, what am I gonna make out of this? You know, and then, boom, there you go. You know, the simple thought of how can I take this to the next level? What can I do to level this up and make it even more amazing, instead of falling down that pit of miserable complacency. The average person, when a lot starts happening in their life, when things begin to pile up and a lot of projects are on the line at once, and a lot of things are going down and happening, and things are moving fast, tend to get very overwhelmed and overcumbered, and they just feel completely out of touch and out of place, restless, stressed, all of these things, anxious. And they begin to lose it. They begin to no longer focus. They begin to fall behind. And that really is one of the biggest things that can determine you being either successful or unsuccessful. Whether you will fall behind when things start to pile on, because eventually, I can pretty much guarantee that they will. One way or another, things will begin to pile on top of each other, and before you know it, you are carrying more than you can, and you have to start loading things off. And what happens is if you're not ahead, if you're behind on your shit, you're gonna start to feel miserable. You're gonna start to feel bad. You're gonna start to feel heavy. You're gonna start to feel like you can't catch up, like you're not good enough, like you can't keep up with the things that are happening in your life, and that you can't execute the way you're meant to execute. And that's not a good feeling to carry. So at all costs, I want you to avoid that. I want you to instead get ahead on everything in your life. Not just one area, not just one project. Every project, everything you're doing, be ahead of schedule. Be ahead of everything that's supposed to happen. Be ahead of what's planned and what's expected of you. Be ahead of what everybody else is. Be ahead of everybody else. Be ahead of yourself. Be ahead of everything that's going down, because the thing is, if you can stay ahead of everything, you will never really truly be overwhelmed. You will feel like you're crushing it, like you're that special human being who can go above and beyond them, while everybody else is being average. You're phenomenal. You're extraordinary. You're something special. And that's a very good feeling to carry. That's a nice way to feel about yourself. Therefore, I mean, it's going to support you, it's going to help you, it's going to aid you whenever you go and attack something new, whenever you are launching in and thinking, well, I have an idea, I want to make it happen, or I want to do something, I want to get a certain result. If you're behind on everything that you're already doing, you're not going to want to go out and do the new thing. You're not going to want to go out and push yourself out of your comfort zone. You're barely just about going to keep up. And that's really where the big difference comes in between, you know, a high performer and somebody who's just average, is that the high performer will always feel like they can take anything on. They will be capable, and therefore they get so much more done because, again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They know that they can make it happen, therefore they do. While the other person who is behind on everything feels miserable, feels like they can't do anything right, feels like they never carry through on their own commitment, they're never true to their own word, and therefore they lack the ambition, the power, the drive, the passion to go attack something new. And therefore, I want you to handle this in your life. If you're behind on projects, go catch up right now, then get ahead. Do more than you're supposed to in every single area. I'm giving you this message because this saved and changed my life. Once I started getting ahead, once I started no longer falling behind on things, and instead always keeping up, and most of the time being ahead on everything, everything began to change for me, because the what you put in is the what you get out. Therefore, it's crucial, it's essential, it's absolutely vital that you get ahead on everything in your life, and that you don't slack, you don't fall behind any longer. When you take on the biggest things that scare you, the biggest things that put you off, the biggest things that make you retract and go backwards and just become afraid, that create bad emotions in your body, that make you feel like you're insignificant and not capable of doing something. When you destroy those things, when you conquer them, you gain a whole nother level of confidence, a whole nother level of glow and energy and spark and passion and everything that you could ever want. Conquering your fears is one of the most important things that you can do. Conquering the things that scare you and doing what you are afraid to do is one of the most important things for your personal development and for growing your character, expanding your reach, and destroying your comfort zone. all the great things that happen in your life usually tend to happen outside your comfort zone. Everything that you remember that's memory worthy, anything that really captures you or captivates you and makes you think, wow, that was a great time, that was something different, usually is outside your comfort zone. Or, it used to be outside your comfort zone at one time or another. Things that you really begin to be great at, usually at one time, were outside your comfort zone. Maybe you were afraid to do them. Therefore, it's essential, it's crucial, it's vital that you go out and conquer those fears of yours, because usually, pretty much every time, it leads to something amazing. Not only does it lead to you having more confidence and momentum, although that is tremendous and amazing, it also leads to new opportunities. When you explore new levels and new devils and you view the world that's outside of your comfort zone, that's when you're really sort of exposed to the things that you could potentially do, to the new options, to the things that you couldn't see before because you were sat in your little box. It makes you expand your vision. It forces you to see outside of what's going on in here and actually look at what's going on the outside, all the different things that you could, try, all the different things that you could be great at, all the different things that maybe you have an amazing talent for, passion for, that you didn't even know about. And of course, if you don't see the world, if you don't push yourself, if you don't face your fears, you're just going to remain in your little box and you're going to remain in your little tiny comfort zone. Now, of course, when you expand and you grow and you push and you face your biggest fears, you're going to expand your comfort zone. And you have a new comfort zone. And what's essential is that you don't get settled into a new comfort zone. You always keep expanding. You always keep reaching further. You always go for whatever that new fear that comes up, you go and handle that. You take on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and you keep doing that because the momentum that you will create for yourself is amazing. If you push yourself like that constantly and consistently, your life will just continue to explode into amazing change, amazing growth, and rapid evolution where you just completely won't believe it. You'll be in disbelief about how amazing things can really be once you take on the things that scare you the most. In fact, that's exactly what I did. That's exactly where I started, and that's what I continue to do. And that's one of the things that really bring me the most joy, the most happiness, the most passion in my life, is facing those things that, I was afraid of, that maybe I'm still afraid of, always taking on that next level, that next stage. Everybody has something that, is pushing them off. And some people tend to say this excuse of, I don't have anything. But of course you do. If you look deep enough, if you dig deep enough, there's something there. There's some kind of resistance. There's some kind of fear, some kind of little gut feeling that tells you, I don't know if I can do that. And once you conquer that thing, of course there will be a next thing, but you will gain a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence. And if you're looking to take things to the next level, go and do that one thing. Go and do those two things, those three things, however many of them, go and crush all of them, because that's when really everything explodes into amazing change, and you evolve your life, you evolve yourself, because each time you do this, you become a better human being. And that's how I want you to view it. Each time you face a fear, each time you crush through a barrier, you level up. You become the next level, the next best version of you that you can be. You just become the ultimate self through conquering and conquering and conquering. And of course there's no end to it, so you can go as high as you want to go, but always taking on that next level. Now, I'm not saying you should become some kind of adrenaline junkie and chase things that are just completely just scary and weird. No. Internal resistance. Look here, what's your gut and your heart and your soul telling you that if you conquered this, you'd be a little bit better, you'd have a little bit more, and you'd enjoy yourself a whole lot more because you didn't have that nagging in the back of your head, that knocking feeling that says you're not capable of something. Once you destroy those, everything goes to the next level. That's why I want you to do it, and that's exactly why I did it. Most people get very caught up when it's time to decide where they're supposed to go, which road to take, which path to go down, which thing to pursue, which passion to go after, and what to really choose in life. Most people get very starstruck by this and almost stale, caught up, don't really move. They slow down, they start to hesitate, they start to question themselves. And this is of course a very major and pressing issue that you need to handle. If you're one of those people who's still questioning yourself, who's still thinking, oh, should I go here or there? You need to get in touch and in tune with your intuition. You need to get a hold of that thing inside you that already knows the way, that inner compass that can lead you through the path, the one that will tell you which decision to make, and then you just go with it. You don't have to worry about what should I choose, where should I go, what should I do, will this work, will this not work, and how long will it take? Instead, you just execute and you do what you're supposed to do. That's the whole magic. That's when everything starts to come together in your life. When you begin to act like that, instead of wavering, instead of hesitating, instead of questioning yourself, all these things will slow down your momentum and they'll kill your growth, and you won't get to where you really want to be. So if you want to get rid of all of that and really find your path and get very, very clear, I need you to tune in to what's going on in here. To what's going on in here, and stop listening to this thing, because this thing can go on for days and days and months and weeks and years, and it will never stop, and it will drive you insane, because our minds are neurotic and they will just run wild. And if you don't get a grip and you don't get a hold of them and you don't control your brain, it'll just lead you astray. Really, ultimately, you'll try to make these technical decisions and things just don't seem to work out when you try to do that. So forget all the technicalities for a moment. And whatever decision you're trying to make, whatever path you're trying to pursue, whatever you're trying to do, just feel it in your gut. What are you supposed to do in this moment? Where are you supposed to go? And what are you supposed to be doing? If you ask yourself the question, what am I supposed to be doing right now? What should I really be doing right now? What do I ultimately want to be doing right now? And if you ask yourself those questions, usually leads you the way. It shows you roughly an estimate of where you need to start moving. Now, one thing that I've talked about before is that if you want to go somewhere, just find a rough direction and start moving, and you'll figure out the rest once you start getting there. You don't need to know everything in advance. You don't need to be perfect. You'll figure it out as you go, especially if you're trying to chase after something that doesn't have a beaten down path. You're trying to do something exceptional. There's not going to be a straight road ahead. It's going to be some difficulty. There's going to be some hardship. There's going to be some pain, some confusion, some clutter. You're not going to be completely clear the whole time in terms of where you need to go. And that's okay. But if you're listening to this, that's enough. That's enough, and you don't need to worry any further. If you have that down, and you're in tune, and you can feel this is where I need to go, this is what I want to do, this is the path that I want to pursue, this is where I want to go down, this is what I want to chase, then that's enough. And the rest you can figure out later. The vast majority of people, whenever they do something, whenever they give, whenever they contribute, whenever they take any action to benefit somebody else, they usually have some kind of intention behind it. They usually have some kind of agenda behind it that benefits them. Most of the time, people are doing things because of selfish reasons. And of course, naturally, that is our inclination. However, doing things just for the sake of doing things, and giving just for the sake of giving, and giving selflessly, can create some really amazing abundance in your life, because giving is the first step to receiving, and what you put out you usually get back tenfold or more sometimes, It's a good reason to really do it from this place, but at the same time, you don't want to make it the reason that you do this. This is a little bit of a puzzle, and you might be a little bit puzzled hearing this, but it's fairly simple actually. If you want to receive massive, massive, massive value, and you want to receive in massive abundance, and you want to have a lot of great things in your life, try giving from a selfless place. Try giving from a place of where you're not having some kind of intention behind it that tries to benefit you. Try giving just to give, and try doing just to do. When you apply this kind of intention, this kind of thought pattern behind your action, it usually makes the result that much better. It usually makes the action that you take and what you provide on a much higher level. It makes you really tap into a place that you can't tap into when you have something knocking in the back of your head that tells you, well, hey, you know why you're doing this, to try to get this outcome. When you operate from a place of, I just want to do it because I want to do it. I do it because I love it. I'm giving because I want to give. It's magic. It's real life magic. Amazing things happen. You start to see crazy results. I have countless examples. I'm not going to go through them all. I'm not even going to go through one. I'm just going to tell you today that if you apply this, you will be amazed. I've seen this with clients. I've seen this with myself. Giving from a selfless place is absolutely amazing. Just the feeling it creates in you, first of all, opens up for a lot of amazing things. And also the opportunities that it usually tends to create just because of the gratitude that you get back from people or, whoever you do it for, whatever you do it for. Just the response that you usually get is just tremendous, amazing. Of course, not everybody will see it. And one of the biggest reasons most people don't do this is because they think, well, I'm going to lose out. I'm giving so much and I'm not going to get back. But the truth is, you have infinite energy and you can do as much as you like. And so limiting yourself like that's a poverty mindset. It's really not going to help you. So instead, try just giving to give. If it's hard for you right now, that's okay. That's understandable. One step at a time. But if you can get to a place where you're selflessly giving, it's really amazing because that's when you really just receive in massive, massive quantity, amazing quality, and you tend to get everything that you want in return anyway. But giving from that place creates amazing, just progress, results, everything that you want. So come from that place, try operating from that, and whatever you're doing, also try doing just because you love to do. It's amazing what can happen when you just do things because you love to do them instead of because I have to do them. Try that and apply that, and the same thing with giving. See what happens for you. It's created some amazing results in my life. Stop kidding yourself. If you're watching this video, and if you're listening to content like this, surely you are no longer a sheep. Surely you have broken out of the herd and you're no longer in the same mentality as everybody else. You're probably not drifting down the stream like everybody else either. And you're probably doing something to stand up for yourself and make your passion, your vision, your dream come true. However, if you haven't done that yet, and you haven't yet taken the action, it's time to stop being a little sheep. It's time to stop going down the drain, going down the stream, and following the footsteps of everybody else. It's time to stop taking the beaten down and easy path instead of the one that challenges you and makes you into a better person. It's time to evolve, it's time to expand, and it's time to let go of fear. Because when you take the unbeaten path, you take the path less walked, if you take the direction that everybody else is afraid to take, you put yourself at risk, and not many people want to do that. And if you want to stand out and do something extraordinary, that is what is required of you in order to gain those amazing results. If you want to really be somebody who stands out and makes an impact on the world, you can't act like a sheep. If you want to be a lion, you have to stop pretending that you're a little sheep. You have to stop going around with the herd. You're probably gonna have to sacrifice some of your friends, some of the old habits that you were doing. You're gonna have to give up some of those things that you had in the past in order for you to have the new you and the new experience, the new self-fulfilling prophecy, the new path, the new thing that you want. If you want that to really come to life, to really become true, you have to let go of every part of being that sheep, not just the parts that you don't like. You have to let go of the parts that you do like, the comfort, the ease of which you can give up on things that you start. When you transform and decide that you're going to be a high performer, a high achiever, somebody that does significant things, you have to give up on the fact that you can give up on things. You can't give up on things anymore because you're somebody who takes yourself seriously, who makes things happen, who sticks to their own word and doesn't just quit. You know, while a sheep might be okay with quitting, you can't be okay with quitting. You can't be okay with giving up. You have to carry through and hold yourself to your word. You can't deviate or walk away from the commitments that you make. You can't be weak in times and when it's usually difficult and everybody else would give up, you have to stay in and keep fighting. There are a lot of things that come with the territory, but it's worth it. And that's what I'm here to tell you today, that if you're making that transition, make it wholeheartedly. Stop pretending or half-assing or going in at it and thinking, yes, I'm kind of doing it. Do it fully with all of you. If you're going to transition and stop being a sheep, then stop being being a sheep completely. Don't just take off the things that you don't like and keep the things such as comfort, such as, going back home and crying to mommy if you couldn't make things happen, if you couldn't make it real. No, you have to stay with it. You have to stick with it, and you have to live with your own consequences. That's what's required of you to take things to the next level. That's usually what's required of you to get what you want. We very often see this scenario of people having a career and then having some separate hobbies and having what they love doing and doing what they do for a living not being connected. Oftentimes, what we do to create wealth in our lives, or at least try to create wealth, many people have a very poor attempt at that, is usually not connected to something that we really love to do. And this is a big issue primarily because if you live like that, you miss out on a great deal of fun. Now, I'm not saying that your life is going to be completely miserable. However, a large part of it, a large majority portion of it, will disappear into doing something that you don't like doing just for the sake of having something that you maybe don't even need, or trying to maintain or upkeep, or trying to achieve something that when you do eventually get it or achieve it or accomplish it, you're not even happy. So what happens is that there's a big disconnect, and what you want to do is sort this disconnect out very, very quickly. You want to handle it. You want to take care of it. You don't want to live like this for the rest of your life. And if you're in a spot right now where you're not happy, it's time to start making some changes. And the first step really is to start doing what you love every single day. Not just once a week, or twice a week, or 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. Every single day, you should do what you love. You should do what you really enjoy, what your heart is screaming for, what your soul is begging you to do, but maybe you won't allow it because you don't have the time, you don't have the finance. You can create those things. You can create the time. You can create the finance. You can create whatever you want to create. The only thing that you really lack, of course, is the resource of time. And if you're spending all that time trying to create wealth doing something that you don't like, so you don't have time to do what you love, and so that you can create yourself some time to have time to do what you love, you're in this massive spiral that's never going to end. A lot of people fall into this trap thinking, okay, once I, have enough money, I'll start doing what I love. And this is a trick. This is just a puzzle that's been built to keep you in your shackles, to keep you in your chains and not even questioning it. You gotta wake up, okay? You gotta wake up. And if anything, I hope that this video is a bright, uplifting message that cuts through all the lies and all the bullshit that you've heard previously of that you can't be doing what you love every single day. Now, I'm 20 years old and I transitioned in the course of less than a year. It was about 6 months to be doing what I love full time, and it wasn't even hard. And then I became tremendously, amazingly wealthy that I couldn't even expect to have this amount, or to do this amount, or to create that kind of abundance in my life. And it was fairly simple. It's not really as hard as most people make it out to be. It's actually fairly straightforward. You just gotta find out, what you love to do. You gotta find out what you really want to do, and then you gotta get help. You gotta get help. You gotta get people backing you and supporting you. And this is what I've been fortunate enough to help so many people do, is to create that lifestyle, is to live what they love to do. And of course, I want you to do that for yourself as well. I want you to at least start today and say, okay, well, maybe I don't know the exact plan. Maybe I don't know everything perfectly. Maybe I haven't designed all the right strategy and I don't have everything in place, every piece of the puzzle, but I can start, and I can start by doing what I love. First of all, you gotta know, what do I want to do? What is it ultimately that I enjoy doing, that I love doing? Start doing that, just a little bit, every single day. You can create a business around it. You can create a career around it. You can definitely have a living around it, and you can create amazing, tremendous wealth and abundance around it if you really, really want to. All of us want amazing wealth and abundance and tremendous, amazing experiences in our life, but very few of us actually experience that. Very few of us actually attain that. And one of the biggest determining factors is that most people are going around looking for that quick fix. When you go around looking for easy solutions to your problems and easy quick fixes, you are essentially cheating yourself out of long-term success, out of long-term sustainable, something that actually will hold up over time, a solution that actually stays there, a solution that is permanent. Now, of course, you can't fix your problems forever and have everything be perfect. There's no such thing. However, you can get very, very close through building things that last and putting in the time, the dedication, the effort, the energy. Now, think about this. this, anything that you actually want, that you deeply desire, that you truly want in your life, is always going to take time, effort, energy, dedication, a lot of resources, all those things that we talk about so very often. But therefore, because of that reason, we often are very afraid and thrown off. We don't want to go in and build that big project. We're afraid to take on that bull because, the sheep looks so much easier, and, skinning that rat is so much less work. However, you don't want to, eat that rat. Now, this is a very weird analogy that I'm using for you, but I hope that you get the point. I hope that you understand that what I'm trying to say to you is anything that's quick and easy is not going to taste very good. Anything that you don't have to put much effort into won't really feel that nice for you either. Therefore, looking for that quick fix is really kind of useless, because what you put in is what you get out. That's why those long-term projects, those visions, those dreams, they're worth it. Whether they take a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you start moving towards it, because building something that lasts always takes time, and what you have to do is become okay with that. Because the moment that you become okay with that, and you accept that the process is going to take a long time, it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of resources, a lot of energy, right? Then you're no longer worried about it. You're no longer obsessing about when is it going to be finished? When am I going to have it? When is that instant fix coming? Because it's not coming. And you're just okay with that, and therefore everything that you do becomes that much easier, and you enjoy it a whole lot more as well. Building something that lasts is always going to pay off way more. Looking for that quick fix is just cheating yourself out of success. So many times in life, we get caught, we get stale, we start doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And of course, that is the definition of insanity. That is a rhythm and a pattern that we don't want to fall into. Repeating just for the sake of repeating and trying the same thing over and over again, genuinely thinking that we're going to get something different each time. Of course, we are not going to get something different each time. We're going to keep getting more of the same unless we somehow tweak it, unless we somehow change it, unless we somehow, move it along and take it to the next level. Unless we shift it in one way or another, we're not going to experience a new kind of result. We're going to experience the same result again and again and again and again. And for a lot of people, this experience is extremely frustrating because they see this pattern develop and continue, and they can't seem to put it to an end. They get very confused, they get trapped, they feel like they can't get out, they feel like they can't get what they want, when of course all this really is blocking yourself. You're sabotaging yourself. You're really hindering and holding yourself back from your ultimate potential through falling into this belief or idea that, you need to repeat the same thing over and over again, and that you cannot shift or change your approach at all. That you cannot try something else. That it's not going to work if you change it. And of course, most likely that is exactly what you need to do. If you feel like things are becoming stale, not really moving forward the way you want them to, or you're not getting the results that you're looking for from what you're doing, it's time to shift and change that approach. It's time to change it. What else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? Keep doing the same thing and expect something else to happen for you? Very, very pointless. Very, very unlikely that will happen. You're looking for a lucky shot or a chance or a breakthrough instead of creating that breakthrough yourself. I want you to create your own breakthrough today, this month, this week, this year, and not wait for it any longer. Not repeat the same old habits that you've been repeating. Not keep doing what you've kept doing that didn't work for you. Change it, do something else, try something else, and see what happens with that. Give it a chance, give it a shot, change your approach, and see what happens. Usually, magic is created, and you bring new amazing things to life, and you take what you're doing to a whole nother extremely different level where you couldn't go if you just kept doing what you're already doing. I also wanted to let you guys know that this is the end of the Daily Motivation Show. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you found these useful to you, that you've applied some of the things that you learned, and most of all, I hope that you can share it with somebody if it really meant something to you and if it hit you and if it helped you in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot of crazy new awesome content coming out very, very soon, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you again on the next one.